Welcome to Wonder World Comics. In this episode, we're going to talk about Diamond failing, how I'm having the best year of my career, and how we can move forward as a comic book industry with new concepts for survival, and how the old model might not be the way moving forward. Welcome, I'm Dennis Barger, 45-year collector of comic books, games, and toys, 35-year seller of everything collectibles, and 20 years of owning stores in this space. Diamond failed this year, and I didn't. Why? Because 3 years ago, I stumbled on a new concept. I basically took a lot of the information that I was seeing around me while owning the comic book store, and I saw the way we were all being funneled down this one corridor. And I said to myself, there's gotta be a way to break through over here. I'll give you some numbers. When The Walking Dead was at its peak, 20 million people watched that TV show live. At that exact same period of time, only 200,000 people were buying the comic books, buying the trade paperbacks, and caring about the source material. That's a breakdown of 1 in every 1,000 people touching the source material. I was interested in how we could focus on the 999 that weren't touching the source material. There wasn't a way to do that at the time. Then I was watching what was happening with video games and TV, and those same correlations were popping up. And then when the movies exploded, Iron Man, Avengers, 1 billion people seeing these movies that are all based on the source material that were coming from our stores. I was seeing $1 billion made, 100 million people buying a $10 ticket, and we didn't have a single comic book that was breaking 1 million units of sales. This was very concerning to me. So I said, how do we get at those normies? How do we get them to come in and buy a comic book, which didn't necessarily look like what they were seeing on screen, and in many times looked the complete opposite? I said, there's gotta be a way to make those normie customers love and embrace our medium. And I realized it wasn't through new comics. I don't know how many of you have ever been to a Cracker Barrel. And I have to ask a simple question, and I hope you'll answer it. What is a Cracker Barrel? Well, it's an old-timey restaurant where they have all kinds of cool stuff on the wall. And before you go in there and while you're waiting to pay, you walk through a general store. Now, is this a general store? Is this Sam Drucker's shop from Green Acres? No. This is what Cracker Barrel is telling you what a general store is, to put you in that old-timey feel. And that kind of sat in the back of my head. Then I was looking at Five Below, and I was like, how does Five Below have a $5 poster that's better than all the posters I'm paying $6 a piece for from distributors through Diamond? How? Then I remember one of the most innovative ads in the Detroit area. It was an ad for a shoe shop called Mr. Allen's. 29 or 2 for $50.
Get men's Yukon, Puma, Fila.
29 or 2 for $50.
Women's DKNY, Trees on Apollo, Gucci.
29 or 2 for $50.
Kids Converse, Fila, or K-Swiss.
29 or 2 for $50.
If you want to win, be the man, Mr. Allen.
Nobody beats Mr. Allen.
And I was like, that's what the customers want. They want bundle pricing, they want it $5 and below, and they want to see what they think a comic book shop is. Not necessarily what Diamond says a comic shop is, not necessarily what the entire comic industry thinks a comic shop is, but what I think a comic shop should look like to the customer who just envisions a comic book shop because they watched Big Bang Theory. I had put the concepts of Cracker Barrel, Five Below, and Mr. Allen in the back of my head. And as I was telling everybody to try these new things, to try new conventions, to try new business models, I was like, wait, I'm talking to myself. Why am I not preparing to take the Cracker Barrel, Five Below, Mr. Allen idea and move that to actual implementation. So I contacted a local mall, and I think it's really important that you choose a mall for this concept, because malls have a nostalgia in and of themselves. I think a mall with a movie theater is also a must, because the movie theaters are the ones building that nostalgia bait to bring in the customers to see these nostalgic concepts on the big screen. The movie theater being the conduit for the nostalgia, and the mall being the implement of that nostalgia. People come for the movie, and then they wander through the mall to have that reminiscing. And then they find my store, Wonder World Comics. When they walk in, they've got this huge wall of comic books. Now, I don't have my favorite comic books up here. I don't have the industry's favorite comic books. There's comic books up here that are Avengers, Batman, Shazam, Flash, Guardians of the Galaxy. Now we've rebranded for all the characters that are in Marvel Rivals, the video game. These are things that normies know. I don't have to explain. Bruce Wayne is Batman. Peter Parker is Spider-Man. I don't have to explain, well, Peter Parker's not Spider-Man now because this happened and this happened and this happened, and you need to read this, this, and this before you can even pick this up and understand who's in this comic book. You pick up this comic book, Peter Parker's fighting Venom. You understand that? Oh, you understand that? Great, enjoy it. So now I'm not paying $2.50 to put a $5 comic on my wall. I'm paying $1 or 50 cents to put a $5 3 for 10 comic or a $2 3 for 5 comic on my wall. That's a 500% profit margin rather than a 100% profit margin. I've had the most profitable 3 years in my career in the last 3 years than I did the 17 years I was selling new comics. If I pay 50 cents a piece for these comic books, I can put them in a box and blow them out at any point in the future. But this is what I've invested in, and this makes me more profit and more inventory than I ever had with new comics. Those 999 people that have never touched a comic book or haven't touched a comic book in 20 or 30 years, they don't want a learning curve. They want to just be able to pick something up and relive that experience. And that's what this store offers. On top of that, much like Five Below, we have most of our tiers are at $5 and $2. That's where the customer wants to sample. And the Mr. Allen concept of it is it's $5 or 3 for 10. That makes your comic books $3.33. The 1,200 Diamond catalog stores that are still left, they don't have anything at the $3.33 price point. They just don't. So bottom line, what should I do? I think you should stop selling new comics as soon as possible. It's only going to get rockier and more dangerous for you to keep investing and reinvesting your money into new comics. What can you do right now? Those dollar boxes that you have sitting in the back of your store that are covered in dust, you don't know what's in them. Take those and stock them on your wall next week. Stock a good chunk of them. Put them on the wall as a new book at a cheaper price. Take those books and slowly transition new comics out of your business model. Wean your customers off of them, and then when the new customers come through, make sure that they see that this is what you're doing. You're rebranding your store in a different manner. Guys, I know, it is a tough monkey to get off your back, paying Diamond every week to get those new books. Oh, my customers will never go through those. You're looking for a new customer base. Your customer base is dwindling. The number of stores is dwindling. The only thing that's going to pull you out of this is to find new customers, find new sources of revenue, and find new books to rack on your wall. I want to thank you for watching. I want to be really interactive with you guys in regards to this topic. I want you to comment down in the chat. I want to reply. I want you to shout out your comic book store. I want to have your comic book store talk to me so I can help them transition into this new paradigm. I'm going to be doing videos like this, talking about all the aspects in this store and how we move forward and how you can follow everything that I've done to turn yourself into a different version of this. Thanks for watching. I'm Dennis Barger from Wonderworld Comics, and I'll see you in another video.